Hey guys, what's up? I know said I wasn't gonna be filming a video for a while because I'm in the Holy Land of Israel, but I thought of an idea because I was thinking during class, paying attention still, but kind of. And I thought of an idea for a video, which doesn't happen a lot. I'm like, well, better do this idea before it gets out of my brain, and then we've got nothing. So basically, what I want to talk about today is my confusion. Now, that's a normal thing. I'm always confused, but specifically something I'm very confused about. So, I guess let's talk about that. Also, there's no cutting in this video unless someone comes in my room. But let's try to get this video no cuts because it's easier for me. And my editing software is at home. So what confuses me? Specifically, I'm talking about what confuses me in the LGBTQ community, which I'm a part of. So yeah, let's talk about that. So what confuses me is not the idea of sexuality or gender. It's more the confusion of acceptance. Now I know what you're saying, Ash. What are you on? Obviously, the LGBTQ community is accepting because, pro-gay, gay, and yes, that's true for the most part. That's where things kind of get tricky, though, because while most of the community is lovely and accepting of everyone, fantastic, and I'm part of that group. I hope. If I'm not, or if someone thinks I'm not, or someone thinks I did something that made me seem like I'm not, I am. I screw up. Everyone does. Everyone makes mistakes. I criticize myself for my mistakes all the time. But it's just a thing. So you do your best. That's all you can ask for. But basically, for those who don't know, there are quite a few people in the LGBTQ community that are not as accepting or seem to gatekeep the community a lot, and it confuses me because I'm like, well, this is supposed to be a community where we accept everyone because the point is that we built this on the fact that there was lack of acceptance for the abnormal, or quote abnormal. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then why are we gatekeeping and excluding this person and that person? Because it doesn't seem like their sexuality, or their gender, or their romantic attraction doesn't really fit into it. And I'm like, well, no, that's not how that works. So let's start with the main one that everyone knows, which is aromantic and asexuals. I myself am a gray asexual, which basically means that my attraction to people is very not romantic attraction. Sexual attraction is not a usual thing. I mean, it happens, and it's what's that word? Sometimes it happens, but it's not. It's very rare. Basically, the community has a lot of people who think that being aromantic and being asexual does not make you LGBTQ inherently. And I'm like, well, I beg to differ there because I can see where your point is coming from, and I understand it. But the point is the LGBTQ community is built on the fact that social norm is that you're straight and you're attracted to the opposite gender, and you identify as the gender you're born. That's the social norm. So not being attracted to anyone or not being attracted to anyone sexually, doesn't that mean that you're not in the social norm? Because the social norm is full romantic and sexual attractions, the opposite gender. And if you're asexual or aromantic, you don't have either the romantic or the asexual attraction, or both. So therefore, you're not fitting to the norm, and therefore, wouldn't that make you part of the community? At least, in my opinion, that's what I believe. That's what I think makes asexuals and aromantics part of the community. There's also the whole bi erasure and pan erasure. Bi and pan are different, and I know people are well, they're the same things. I'm bi and I like trans people, and I'm like, yeah, but inherently, bi means two sets of people. That doesn't mean cis male and female. While that typically is what the case is, it doesn't always mean that. It can mean that maybe you're attracted to cis females and trans males, but it means two. Pan means all, and pan is just as valid. It's its own thing. It's not the same as being bisexual. They're similar, yes, but they're not the same. The same as being poly. Poly is not the same as pan. Poly means that you're attracted to most genders, but there's some genders maybe you're not attracted to, and that's allowed too. That isn't being against trans people. If not attracted to trans people, doesn't mean against cis people, if you're not attracted to cis people, you're allowed to say I'm not attracted to a certain group of people. That's part of the idea. Omni people, not the same as poly or pan or bi either. Omni people are attracted for the sake of being attracted because where gender comes into play. Pan, typically gender isn't a big issue. It's more personality and how you attract to the person themselves, not their gender. There's different things. Omni and pan, similar, again, not the same. And that's all valid, but people don't really accept pan and therefore also don't really accept poly or omni people. And omni is also really forgotten a lot. Same goes for demisexuals. Demisexual is a thing. It's not just, being human and saying, oh, I have, boundaries. I want to be close to the person. No. Being demisexual means you will only be sexually attracted to a person when you form a really close bond with them. And I know for some people, that maybe a lot of people that have that same feeling. That doesn't mean exactly that you're demisexual, because that doesn't always happen. You don't know. But demi people, that happens all the time. And I know it's well, wouldn't you be friends with someone before you hook up with them? I'm like, no, that's not always the case. One night stands are a thing. Maybe a person the first 24 hours and bam, you're together. That's not always the case. And I know people that make that argument, but it's not. Also, look, it's my tea. It's really hot. Otherwise, I'd be drinking because I have a sore throat. But yeah, it smells really good. It's cinnamon. But back to what I was talking about. It's not the same thing. What else? Trans people, which is ridiculous. I cannot understand why people don't accept trans people, but they're part of the LGBTQ community. I don't think you should call yourself part of the LGBTQ community if you don't accept trans people. Trans people are literally in the acronym LGBTQ. We're literally in the acronym, so why are people try to erase us? And I know some people that are older that are also part of the LGBTQ community, it's still more of a new thing. I get that being trans wasn't always the big thing. It was more about being gay or lesbian, but we're there. And it's always been the case. We've always been there. I mean, Stonewall was black trans women, and that was Stonewall. That's been around for ages. It's just it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why there's so much gatekeeping when we're supposed to be a community full of acceptance. I know every community has its flaws, and I understand that, but I feel we're just being hypocritical for oh well, we accept everyone except for the small group, and it's the same for a lot of things. I mean, everything is based on outcasting one group. I feel no group can be complete and they don't outcast somebody. And I'm not saying that the LGBTQ community should be perfect because we're supposed to be this full accepting group. No, I'm not saying that. Like I said, every group has its flaws, and the LGBTQ community has plenty. The point is that when you try to erase a group of people, when it's supposed to be such an accepting community, I just cannot fathom it. I just cannot comprehend why that is the case, and it bothers me. And I was thinking about this. I'm well, this really is a topic I don't understand. I feel people don't talk about it a lot because the gatekeeping is talk about on Tumblr, but if you don't go on Tumblr, then you never really hear much about it. If you don't really follow LGBTQ stuff outside of it being your own identity, if you don't follow it at all, if it's not part of you, then you wouldn't know this is happening. You might just assume, oh, yeah, sorry. So I have my first cut of the recording because my friends came knocking at my door, really loudly. I'll put the clip at the end of the video, how loud it was. But basically, as I was saying, if it's not something you follow, then you'll assume, oh yes, the community is so accepting and everyone's accepted there and blah blah blah. Whether that's out of that's cool, or if that's out of spite, oh yeah, they only accept everyone because they're not accepted, that kind of thing. It's not true, not wholeheartedly. A lot of, I said, a majority of the community is lovely and accepting, but there's still those people that aren't. And the same goes for TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists. I think feminism is great and it's definitely needed. But when it gets to the point where you're excluding trans women because they're not real women, then you're just backtracking on your own own idea and agenda, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not bashing feminism. I think it's great. I mean, it's fantastic. But when it gets too radical like that, where you're excluding, got it, trans women who are real women. They're real women. Obviously. I mean, trans people are real, and what they identify as is who they are. Then you're just rerouting your own ideas and basically being hypocritical if you're saying, oh, well, we want full equality, but no, we don't want this group part of that agenda to move forward with that. I'm like, what? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. When you use religion against gay people also, you say God is love and accepting and you accept everyone. You don't, be rude to any group of people. Oh, but except the gay people, we have to be rude to them because they're a sin. Now, does that really make sense at all? Accept everyone, then God's like, oh yeah, but not this group. This group does stuff that's not right. This group is like against sexual protocol, whatever you want to call it, sexual laws. There's something seriously wrong there, like completely. And I'm not bashing religion either. I'm saying that just doesn't make sense. You can't go and back check on what you said because like you can't. This group's disgusting. They're gay. They go to hell. No. That just makes, if that's what God really wants, and that's what God really said, then that just makes God almost as worse as bad as we are. Like, that makes God humanistic then, because humans bash people, humans exclude people. And isn't God supposed to be more powerful than humans? Isn't that the whole thing? Like when you look at, like we learned about like how we compare like Babylonian ideas of creation and Babylonian ideas of humans versus God, our idea of humans, our idea of God. The Babylonian idea of gods is they're like humans, and then the idea of like our God is that a God is supposed to be more powerful and better than humans and more moral than humans. And it's like, well, if you're excluding this one group because they do something differently and they're not doing something that's completely in the norm, then that just makes God human, or so like it if that's the case. There's just so much detail and so much things that just don't make sense. And I know like this is about like the LGBTQ community specifically and what doesn't make sense there, but there's such a broad like topic everywhere. But like what doesn't make sense? What doesn't fit? And I know I'm probably gonna get hate for like this. I'm probably gonna get some of my comments saying, well, putting out all the issues when it comes to being gay or whatever. And you know what? I don't care because I know that there's nothing wrong with it, and it's just pointless to fight with people that aren't gonna listen to your side of the story. Like I got into fights countless times, and I don't know why I keep doing it, but it pisses me off because I want to show my idea. Like, there's nothing wrong. It's just who we are, just is what it is. And there's those great cases where you get people to listen to your idea and be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. And then most cases people don't want to listen. And it's like, fine, you do you, but like, if you want to be bigoted and you want to be closeted, not in the gay sense, closeted in the sense that you don't want to listen to outside opinions, then that's your prerogative, that's your idea, but no one's going to want to be around you when they realize that you're not accepting. You can spend time with the group of people that also aren't accepting like you are, but don't come near people that just want to live their lives at all. There's no point. No one cares about what you think, because if you're just trying to use what you think to hurt somebody, then you're just a bad person. That's all that matters. You're just a bad person. But yeah, that's basically kind of what I wanted to talk about. I mean, if you guys really enjoyed this, I'd love to do more, but like issues I have with like certain areas, while still trying to remain as neutral as possible, while still talking about like where I think it's gone wrong. And I think there's issues in all religions, not just Christianity and Catholicism and their idea of being gay. Judaism too has their own issues in that sense as well. But I think there's all some mutual ground where there's like amazing people from every community that just like are accepting well-rounded. I think those are the best kind of people. And every community just needs work. Like I think every community has its flaws, but that's what makes us people, because no one's perfect. And I think there's things that need to be fixed, and that's what we're kind of trying to do. And until it's fixed, there's always going to be issues, and there's probably going to still be issues even when it's fixed, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. But like, we're trying, and I think everyone's made great strides towards that equality, and we still have a ways to go, but like, we're getting there, and that's what's important. But yeah, so that was my little rant for today. I hopefully will be probably, if I think of more things I want to talk about, I'm probably doing more of these because they're fun to have free time where I can do these, and less editing for me versus doing something else. Also, I don't have a screen recorder. I did buy a new game, but like I can't play it if I don't have a screen recorder, which sucks. But it is what it is. But yeah, so I will probably see you all guys. I will see y'all in as soon as possible, I guess. I don't know when I'll be making another video. Maybe next week. I don't know. I know my schedule is full, but like, I'm trying to make time. But I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any opinions, but if they're gonna be rude or against something, or harassing me or saying mean things about me because of what I said, then don't write them. But if they're literal opinions where you're not being violent with your opinions, if you think, oh, well, I don't think being gay is right, but I'm not going to be rude about it, then sure, go right ahead. I love hearing the opposite side of things, but don't come into my comment section being rude because you want to be homophobic and transphobic just for the hell of seeing people upset and being mean about it. I don't want to see that crap. I want to see legitimate, fact-based opinions where I can have adult and responsible and organized debate, discussion with you. I don't want to see any kind of, you being gay is disgusting, what are you talking about, you're going to go to hell. I don't want to see that shit. I don't care about anything you say after that, if that's what I see. But otherwise, go right ahead. Come comment on my comment section if you have a literal, you want to be civil about it. I'm happy to be civil with you too, because, accepting each other's opinions is the first step to equality. And I'm not saying that you think, if someone thinks being gay or being trans is wrong, that they're, a bad person or not. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. They're just think differently, and maybe they're misguided, or maybe that's just the way they think, and you're allowed to think that way. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I believe that that's the way to think, but if that's the way you think, then you're allowed to think that, and I'd love to discuss with you about that. That's all I'm saying about on that end. So yeah, guess that's pretty much it. Also, before I go, I remembered what my new catchphrase was, or my new exit thing. So I guess I'll be doing that now, because I actually kind of like it, and I think it's quirky, and it's kind of the kind of thing I need. So yeah, love you guys. And remember, why be a spoon when you can be a sport? No, that wasn't it at all. That wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. I don't remember what it was. I'm gonna be completely honest here. I don't remember what it was. No, up here it's written down, and it'll be in the description below. So just imagine my voice saying whatever that quote was in my description, because my brain doesn't remember it. Okay, cool. See y'all. Bye. Oh, yes. Yeah? I'm not cutting that.